If you've ever felt like you were meant for something greater, this video is your sign. What you're about to discover isn't a theory. It's a silent law that has guided, without exception, every great person who ever defied the impossible and conquered it. It's the same law Napoleon Hill identified after studying the most successful individuals in history. A law few truly understand in its depth. Nothing in your life will change until you choose to believe as if it were already real. Napoleon Hill stated it with absolute clarity. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But there's a crucial part of that phrase most people overlook. It's not enough to imagine it. It's not enough to want it. You have to believe it. And you have to believe it before you have proof, before you see results, even before anyone else sees it as possible. Believing without evidence is like planting a seed. In dry soil, you don't know if it will rain, you don't know if it will sprout, but you plant it anyway because you trust the law. And that faith, that deep conviction, is what separates those who keep dreaming from those who end up creating what once seemed impossible. Maybe today you're fighting in silence. Maybe everything around you seems to contradict your dreams. And it is precisely there, in that intersection between fear and faith, where your destiny is decided. In this video, you'll learn how to awaken a faith so powerful that you won't need any external evidence to feel inner certainty. I'll show you the exact principles Napoleon Hill used to build a new reality, how to eliminate the doubt that sabotages your progress, and how to use your faith as a magnet to attract people, opportunities, and miracles. But more than anything, you'll understand why believing as if it were already real is the only way for it to ever become real. It doesn't matter where you are today. If you're willing to believe without guarantees, to act as if you already were that future version of yourself, this message could change everything. Because the universe doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your conviction. Everything around you once began as an idea. Before the wheel, there was a thought. Before skyscrapers, a vision. Before electricity, the phone, or the internet, there was a mind that dared to believe it was possible. This is what Napoleon Hill called the principle of creative thought. He understood something science is only beginning to confirm. Your thoughts are waves of energy. And that energy shapes form. Not just abstract ideas, but tangible realities, because your mind is not a storage box for memories. It's a broadcasting antenna for creation. Think of Henry Ford when he proposed building an 8-cylinder engine in a single block. His engineers laughed. "It can't be done," they said. But Ford replied, "Do it. I don't care that you don't know how." Do you see it? He didn't need evidence. He had a mental image and believed in it more than any present fact. That's creative thinking, and when you act from that space, reality has no choice. It must adapt. And are you using your mind to create, or only to remember what didn't work? Because here's an uncomfortable truth no one talks about. If your thoughts are weak, your life will be weak. If your thoughts are reactive, your life will be one big reaction, not a creation. But if your thoughts are clear, focused, and determined, the universe starts aligning with you. Listen closely. You don't need to know how. You just need to know what, and then believe it. Hold that image. Nurture it daily, until it becomes your dominant reality, because the moment it becomes so real inside you that it shifts your posture, your voice, your gaze, everything outside begins to shift too. Imagine you're in the middle of the ocean, total darkness, and in the distance there's a lighthouse. That lighthouse is your vision. And even as the waves crash and the wind tries to push you off course, you keep steering toward that light. Do you know what that is? That's thinking with power. That's using your mind as a generator, not as a victim. And that lighthouse, if you don't abandon it, will guide you to safe harbor. The problem is most people use their creative thought to sabotage themselves. They focus on what they don't want. They visualize failure. They repeat scarcity, beliefs, and then they wonder why their life isn't changing. But it's simple. They're planting thorns and expecting to harvest roses. Napoleon Hill repeated it in Think and Grow Rich. The thoughts a person plants in their mind are the very ones they will harvest. You can't plant doubt and expect certainty. You can't plant fear and expect power. What you think becomes what you attract. And what you consistently hold in your mind becomes what you live. So take a good look at yourself today. No masks. What are you creating with your mind? Are you holding an image of purpose, abundance, and faith? Or are you letting yesterday's fear dictate tomorrow's reality? Because I promise you this, when you begin using your thought as a tool for conscious creation and combine it with unshakable faith, you will witness things that once only lived in your imagination. But first, you have to choose to believe. Believe as if it were already real, not because of what you see, but because of what you know. And what you know deep down is that you were made to create. Have you ever felt like you were on the edge of something extraordinary, but right before taking the step, something inside you pulled you back? That voice that whispers, what if it doesn't work? What if it's not meant for you? What if you look like a fool? That's not intuition. That's not caution. That's doubt. And doubt, though it often wears the mask of logic, is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't shout. It doesn't force. It whispers. It speaks in the voice of your past failures. It reminds you of what went wrong. It convinces you to wait just a little longer. And before you realize it, it puts you to sleep. It's a soft poison disguised as wisdom that quietly destroys your creative power. Napoleon Hill said it clearly. Doubt is the most dangerous state of mind because it paralyzes action, and worst of all, it can exist even in people who pray, who dream, who visualize, but don't truly believe in themselves. Think about this. One day you decide to start something new. You feel inspired. The vision is clear. You know it's for you. But the next morning you wake up and that little voice appears. What if you're not good enough? And the excitement fades. Not because you weren't capable, but because you let doubt win. Faith and doubt cannot coexist. They are like fire and water. One fuels, the other extinguishes. And if there's more doubt than certainty within you, it doesn't matter how many affirmations you repeat, the energy you emit is contradiction. The universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you feel as truth. Want to know if you really believe in something? Watch how you act. Not what you say, not what you post, how you act. Because when you truly believe, you behave as if it were already real. You move with intention. You make aligned decisions. You walk with certainty. And if you're waiting to feel safe before taking action, let me tell you this with love. That safety never comes. Before safety comes, it's not a requirement, it's a result. Napoleon Hill was clear. Faith is not a divine gift reserved for a chosen few. It is a mental decision, one that is cultivated through repetition. This means you can choose, starting today, to live without doubt. Not because everything is clear, but because you are. Always remember this. Doubt is how fear disguises itself as logic. And if you listen to it, it will steal years from your life. But if you dare to ignore it, it will open paths where there once were only walls. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to understand every step of the path. You only need one thing. Decide that you will achieve it, even if you don't know how. Because when you choose to believe firmly, even when everything around you says otherwise, you activate a power within you that's greater than any circumstance. And that power is what we're going to unleash in you in the next part of this message. Faith is not a gift, it's a construction. And like any construction, it needs blueprints, materials, and repetition. Many people think that having faith means waiting to feel something, but it's not. Having faith means training your mind until what you want becomes more real than what you fear. Your mind is fertile ground. It doesn't matter if you've only planted doubt, scarcity, or fear in the past. If today you choose to plant something new and you do it daily, you will harvest something new. That process is called mental programming. Napoleon Hill explained it clearly. Autosuggestion is the mechanism through which you can install ideas into your subconscious. And what's in your subconscious governs your decisions, your reactions, and your results. How do you do it? Let me break it down into 3 steps. Declare what you want as if it were already real. Example, I am creating a life of purpose and abundance. Everything is conspiring in my favor. Repeat it out loud with emotion, every morning and every night. Visualize it as you say it. Don't just repeat it like a robot. Feel it as if it were already yours. Do you know why this works? Because the subconscious cannot distinguish between reality and emotionally charged suggestion. If you say it, see it, and feel it, your subconscious begins to accept it as truth. Visualization is rehearsing success before it happens. Olympic athletes do it. The greatest entrepreneurs do it. Napoleon Hill did it. He recommended setting aside a moment every day to close your eyes and see your goal as if it were already accomplished. Live it with all your senses. What does it feel like to be there? What do you see? What do you hear? Who is with you? Because what you can hold clearly in your inner world, the universe will manifest in your outer world. There's a powerful window of opportunity almost no one takes advantage of. The last 5 minutes before you fall asleep. In that moment, your brain enters alpha state, a frequency in which your subconscious is most open to receiving input. And whatever you hear or repeat in that state becomes the seed for the next day. That's why before sleeping, repeat your affirmations, visualize your fulfilled goal, give thanks as if it were already yours. Don't fall asleep with worries. Fall asleep with programming. Your life begins at night when you plant the seed for the day ahead. I know the story of a woman who, for years, kept repeating to herself, "Nothing ever works out for me. No one chooses me. I'm always missing something." And that's exactly what she experienced. Until one day, she chose to change her language. She began saying, "Everything works out for me. I'm being chosen for the best. I have everything I need." At first, she didn't believe it, but she persisted. And by day 30, her decisions, her emotions, her relationships began to change. Why? Because she programmed her faith through her language. Here's a hard truth. Doing it for one day, or even a week, is not enough. What is not repeated is not installed. Your mind was trained for years, with fear, with doubt, with scarcity. Do you really think a single phrase will transform it? This is re-education, and like any form of training, it requires discipline. But the results are worth every second. Picture this: you wake up every morning with direction. Your mind no longer sabotages you. Your language vibrates high. Your energy attracts doors where you once saw only walls. And all that, not because something magical fell from the sky, but because you made the decision to reprogram your faith. You are not what you inherited. You are what you intentionally repeat. Programming your faith is the most spiritual and powerful act you can do every day. When you truly believe, life responds. Not always with what you expect, but always with what you need to reach where you said you wanted to go. Napoleon Hill spoke of something you cannot touch or see with your physical eyes, but it's always in motion, an infinite intelligence that responds to your state of faith. Imagine that faith is a code, and that code activates an invisible map, a system of coordinates that begins to shift the moment you decide where you're going. But here's the key. That map doesn't reveal itself before. It activates as you walk. Maybe this has happened to you. You were determined to achieve something, and suddenly you met the right person. The perfect book appeared. You saw a sign that felt like it was made just for you. That wasn't a coincidence. It was the consequence of your focus, your vibration, your faith. Life doesn't act by chance. Life responds to your level of conviction. A young man, unemployed and living in his parents' basement, once wrote on a piece of paper, "I am a recognized author. My books impact millions of lives." He stuck it on his wall, read it every single day and believed it, even when no one else did. 5 months later in a library, he met someone who gave him his first publishing opportunity. Today, his books sell around the world. Coincidence? No resonance. His inner certainty activated an outer response. You also have that internal map, but if you don't believe in it, it stays asleep. You're not lost. You're just not using your faith to see the signs. This universe doesn't respond to randomness. It responds to law. The internal creates the external. If you believe, it manifests. If you doubt, it stalls. Don't wait for proof to start believing. Start believing, and the proof will come. That's always been the order. Your mind is wired to filter the world based on what you focus on. It's called the reticular activating system. The ancients had another name for it: faith, a force that reshapes your outer world based on your most dominant thoughts. When your faith is clear, your world starts to mirror that clarity. Pieces fall into place, timing accelerates, doors open. Imagine walking through a forest with no visible trail, but holding a flashlight. Each step forward reveals only a bit more. But if you don't move, nothing gets illuminated. That's faith. Not seeing the whole path, but moving forward anyway. Your destiny isn't written in advance. It's designed in real time by your level of conviction. And if today you choose to believe with all your strength, get ready. People, opportunities, and signs will begin to align with your vision. Life isn't giving you instructions. It's asking you a question. Are you willing to believe enough to take the first step? Every person with a purpose reaches a defining moment, a place where everything seems to fall apart. Doors close, energy fades, and doubts grow louder. And right there, the soul faces its greatest decision. Do I give up, or do I believe even more deeply? Napoleon Hill lived through that. He was forgotten, betrayed, rejected. He lost almost everything. But in the midst of that darkness, he discovered something not written in any book. Faith that doesn't depend on results. Not the faith that shows up when things go well, but the kind you choose when everything seems to be going wrong, like a seed buried in the soil under pressure and darkness. It's not dying, it's germinating. And the same is happening to you. That darkness is not the end, it's the womb of your next version, but only if you don't run. Only if you stay. Only if you choose to believe even here. Lincoln lost 8 elections before becoming president. He lost his fiancée, endured public attacks, suffered setbacks, but he never abandoned his vision. And that unshakable faith led him to transform history. Not because everything was in his favor, but because he believed when no one else did. Maybe you're in a place like that now, tired, alone, with no visible results, and doubt knocking at the door of your mind. This is the moment. Not tomorrow, not later. Right now is the moment to decide, will I keep believing even if I don't see anything yet? That decision defines everything that follows. The most powerful faith isn't the one that appears after the miracle. It's the one that comes before it. It's the kind of faith that looks up at a closed sky and says, "Thank you, I know you're working in my favor." That faith breaks through walls logic can't understand. So lift your spirit. Wipe your inner tears and walk forward with more conviction than ever, because if everything around you is shifting, it means you're being prepared for something greater. And if you can believe in the silence, the universe will shout your answers. Believe it. Hold steady. The darkest hour isn't the end. It's the prelude to dawn. And what if instead of waiting to become your best self, you started acting like that person already? That's true faith. Not just believing in something, but behaving as if it were already true. Napoleon Hill said it clearly: you must assume the mental attitude of the person you wish to become, until that attitude becomes part of you. That's not fantasy. That's identity programming. It's the art of acting from certainty, not from lack. Imagine you're an actor. You're handed a role, a character who is confident, wise, generous, successful. Your job is to embody them, to speak like them, walk like them, decide like them. And if you do it long enough, something magical happens. You stop pretending and you start becoming. Neuroscience confirms this. Your brain can't tell the difference between something real and something imagined. With emotional intensity, every repeated thought, emotion, and action creates new neural pathways. Over time, that future self stops being a goal and becomes your new baseline identity. Make it simple. Make it consistent. Each morning, visualize your elevated self. How? Do they wake up? What do they decide? What do they no longer tolerate? Second, act with alignment. Before you react, ask yourself, how would my best version respond? Third, shift your language. Don't say I want, say I'm creating. Don't say it's hard, say I'm learning to master it. Fourth, surround yourself with inputs that reinforce that identity. Books, audios, environments, people. Your surroundings must constantly remind you of who you're becoming. Don't wait to feel ready. Start behaving as if you already are. Because it's not about seeing to believe, it's about believing to behave, and behaving to become. An insecure young man began each day by looking in the mirror and declaring himself successful. At first, it felt fake, but he kept going. His words changed, his posture shifted, his energy elevated. Soon, people began treating him differently. But more importantly, he felt different. And when his identity changed, his reality followed. Many people don't get results, not because they lack talent, but because they keep living from an outdated identity. They want a new life, but they keep acting from their old beliefs, and that never works. So decide today who you are, not based on your past, not based on your mistakes, but based on your highest vision. Let your faith not only live in your mind, let it show in your decisions, because when you live as if you already are that future version, the world notices, the energy shifts, and life starts responding to the person you've chosen to become. Napoleon Hill wrote something few understand, and even fewer ever teach in business books or conferences. He said that in the darkest moments of his life, when everything seemed lost, something appeared, someone, an other self. That other self wasn't an external voice. It was an internal force, a higher consciousness, a part of himself he didn't know existed until he dared to believe beyond fear. It wasn't imagination, it was revelation. An inner intelligence that knew what to say, what to do, how to move forward, and Napoleon Hill swore. It wasn't his ego, nor his rational mind. It was something deeper. You have that other self, too. And if you've felt it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That intuition that shows up in silence, that gentle voice that doesn't scream but never gets it wrong. That impulse that says, keep going, don't stop. Everything's about to change. But there's one condition. It only appears when you act from faith, not from need, from power, not from fear. How do you activate it? Silence. Your other self doesn't speak above the noise. Meditate, breathe, create space, write. Ask yourself, on paper, what do I need to know today? Then write without thinking, let it flow, act with courage. The more aligned your actions are with your vision, the clearer that other self becomes. You're not alone. You never were. Within you lives a wiser, stronger, more powerful version of yourself, just waiting for you to trust enough to let it out. And when you let it speak, when you let it lead, you begin to live from a different level, where you no longer need validation because you know who you are. Most people ask from lack. They say, please God, give me this. Universe, help me with that. But when you ask from need, you're declaring that you don't already have it, and the universe can only respond to your vibrational state. Napoleon Hill understood, you don't manifest from desperate desire. You manifest from inner certainty, from the state of, it is already mine. When you truly believe, you no longer ask, you just give thanks. And that gratitude is the signal that you're ready to receive. Imagine walking into a cafe and saying, "Hi, I'd like to order a coffee." But if you can, if it's possible, if it's not too much trouble, what are you projecting? Insecurity, lack of certainty. Now imagine walking in with a smile and confident energy saying, "One coffee, please, thank you." Same request. Different vibration, different response. So each day, instead of asking, do this. Declare your vision as if it were already real. Example: thank you that my business is thriving. Thank you that I'm being guided. Thank you that I am abundant. Feel real gratitude, not as a trick, but as a celebration in advance. Act in alignment. Don't wait for signs to move. Move, and the signs will appear. The most powerful faith doesn't need proof. Its only evidence is the peace it feels before the miracle happens. And that peace, that is the frequency of creators. It's the secret language of manifestation. Stop asking from emptiness. Start giving thanks from certainty. Believe, give thanks, receive, because everything you desire already exists in the realm of faith. And it's just waiting for you to become the version of yourself who can hold it. Having faith for just one day isn't enough. Faith is a muscle, and like any muscle, if you don't train it, it atrophies. What you do daily with your mind, your language, and your energy is what determines whether your faith grows or dissolves. Napoleon Hill discovered that the most successful people in the world didn't turn to faith only in moments of crisis. They cultivated it every day as a sacred habit. That's why today I share with you a daily ritual, simple but powerful, that you can do in under 10 minutes. And that can completely reprogram your mind if done with consistency. The 3-step ritual, morning and night. 1. Morning, program your vibration. Before touching your phone, sit in silence and say out loud, "Thank you, because this day is already blessed. My mind is aligned with the best. Everything I need is already manifesting." Say it upright with energy. Don't say it as a routine. Say it as truth. Then visualize your ideal day for 1 minute. Feel it as if it's already happening. Start your day from that certainty. Night. Reprogram your subconscious. The last 5 minutes before you sleep are key. Repeat your core affirmations. Give thanks for 3 things as if they already happened. Examples: thank you for the abundance flowing into my life. Thank you that I'm becoming stronger and more guided every day. Thank you that I'm at peace with who I am and what's coming. Visualize yourself achieving your highest goal. Feel gratitude and fall asleep in that energy. Your subconscious will do the rest. Throughout the day, adjust your frequency. If you catch yourself doubting, complaining, or feeling fear, pause, breathe. Say quietly, "I recalibrate, I return to certainty," then declare, "All is well, everything is aligning." You don't need to be perfect. You just need to remember your power. Each time you realign your state, you strengthen your faith. It's not what you do once that transforms you. It's what you repeat with intention until it becomes part of you. This ritual isn't magic. It's spiritual training. And if you do it for 21 days straight, you'll begin to feel a new energy in your life. A silent but unstoppable force. That's faith. You don't see it at first, but once it lands, it changes everything. You've made it this far for a reason. Inside you, there's a part that refuses to settle. A part that is waking up. And if something you heard today resonated, it wasn't coincidence. It was the Napoleon Hill Code activating in you. Everything you're searching for isn't out there. It's inside your faith. Not the faith you inherited, but the faith you choose to build. Every thought, every word, every decision is a brick. In the reality you're creating, faith isn't a wish, it's a posture, an identity. And today, right here, you choose who you're going to be, the version that waits for signs or the version that becomes one. If this message stirred something in you, leave a comment and share it with someone who needs it. Because this isn't just a channel, it's a code, a movement, the Napoleon Hill Code. And if you're here, it's because your soul has already started to remember it.